All right, so we are live. We are a go, and we are here with Eric and Shannon Geller of Short Hop Games. Yeah, thank you for joining me. They have a game called Quest and Cannons that's going to be launching on Kickstarter coming up next Tuesday. Correct?
Yeah, next Tuesday, coming up fast.
Yeah, your or the how to play video that I did for Quest and Cannons is actually my number one video for the past 28 days. Yeah, it's got like a total of like 266 views. It's like awesome. It's great. It's getting my time up there. I'm loving it. And then I got the Quickie Preview for it that's going to be launching at the same time that the Kickstarter launches. So that'll be awesome as well. So the one you go ahead and
Talking about that, because I want to put that on the Kickstarter page.
yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I know, and I saw the how to play video is right there on your website. Like right as soon as you scroll, it's like boom, it's like front and center. I was like, hey, that's awesome. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about the game while I go ahead. I'm gonna put a link to the Kickstarter pre-launch page and everything in the comments so that they can check that out.
Okay. So Quest and Cannons is a high fantasy on the high seas, competitive sandbox style adventure game for 1 to 6 players. And it plays in about 20 minutes per player, and we have a ton of different game modes. It's a really versatile game. You can play solo, co-op up to 3 players, 2 to 6 player free for all, teams 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, and 2 versus 2 versus 2. And do you wanna talk about the like why we made it kind of stuff?
Sure. Um, so in case anyone is listening in here that just sounded like gibberish too, um, Eric decided to design a board game based off of like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign he had going in his brain that like we never got to see it all like live out.
Nice.
So he decided to start designing a board game, and we found it difficult in our relationship to find board games that we both could enjoy because of the different skill level.
Yeah.
So he had been gaming his entire life, and I hadn't. I played like Monopoly and basic stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to start out somewhere. Yeah.
Right. So him and his friends would get together and be like, oh, do you want to play this new game? Reference, 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 reference. And they'd be like, okay, I get it. And I'd be like, no, I don't understand anything more about this game. Like, there's just a lot of jargon in the industry that when you've been in it, you don't realize.
Yeah.
Like all the things he just said, sandbox style, like pick up and deliver, runaway winners. There's just like a lot of terms.
Yeah.
Deck building, whatever. So anyway, he tells me like, all right, I got this design idea, and he starts like telling me all about it, and I was like, that's insane. I don't think you should do it like that. I think you should like tone it down. And he's like, where? And I'm like, here, here, and here, and this isn't like user friendly. And I didn't know I was like getting interviewed here.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, what else would you change? So anyway, he like hijacked me into designing it. So with him, our goal with the design after all that was to create like a game that bridges the gap between the seasoned gamer and someone newer to the hobby. So we really tried to focus on what those barriers are for the new person and like what would bore someone who's been around the gaming industry for a long time.
Yeah.
Hobby gaming specifically.
Yeah. And the game is really awesome. Where did you well, for anybody that hasn't seen it, hopefully they go and check out the website and the Kickstarter launch page that's linked into the in the chat. And all the links to everything will be in the description on the video afterwards when I upload it to YouTube, so everybody can find it there. But the three main races in the game for them I almost always get this wrong. It's the Dwunnies, the Delves, and the Porks, right?
You nailed it.
Yeah, I think in the video I think I say Dwells, and then I had to add in a little. There's like no, it's Delves, not Dwells.
We've heard that like so. You're not the only one.
Okay.
This is 12. There's
Apparently, dwells are. I'm not the one who's good at remembering stuff like this, but so don't quote me on this. Dwells are some sort of like fantasy thing, and I thought they were saying like some sort of like Celtic or like Viking.
It was
I forget.
Like
It's like a thing.
something related to dwarves and elves. but it's an actual thing. So
It is a
like,
thing.
I
people's brains kind of like
we didn't know, but
out there. I don't know, or either that or it's Dwunny, and then it kind of just rolls into Delph.
Yeah, I think that
actually, the question, the next part of the story I was gonna say about us getting into this together was actually that. So it's like ironic that you just asked that.
Yeah, yes, because I'm psychic right there. Yeah.
So Eric's original design, was to kind of do like pirates, like maybe like a steampunk. It was like really rugged, which is cool and great.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know, like I just feel like if you want me to like personally play, like it needs to be floopier. Like I want something that like more people could identify with, not just like such a small like target market. Like basically I wanted like women to have characters they were digging. Not to say that women can't relate to, you know, pirates and steampunk, because I personally love that stuff too, but I was like, I need something a little bit more colorful and floofy for me.
Yeah.
So he was like, what do you think about traditional Looney Tune characters like the duck, pig, and bunnies? Right. I can never remember that all. So then he's like, what do you think about that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, what if we mix that with like Dungeons and Dragons, like original like races and stuff like that, like the high fantasy thing.
Yeah.
So that's how we were just like sitting there and we're like, oh my god, like pig and an orc is a pork.
Yeah.
That's like good. So we're like, all right, let's go with this. Like go off that.
Yeah, I know when I first saw them, I was like, this is awesome, because I almost always play a dwarf, and usually a dwarf cleric when I play D&D. That's almost my go-to character right there, dwarf cleric. So and I grew up raising rabbits. We had a rabbit hutch in our backyard with like 5 or 6 rabbits in it growing up. So love rabbits. We had multiple other animals, but now I've got like 30 cats out that live outside. But yeah, other than that, yeah. But so I was like, dwarf and bunny. You got the Dwunny. I was like, that's awesome. And then then the delves, so cool. The duck elves.
Hearing that story, because that's like why we wanted to do it, because like the Dungeons and Dragons races have so much depth, and like obviously animals do as well, because they're like burrow creatures. Like animals have a lot of culture in their communities, depending on if they're like independent or like are they tribe animals, you know, like all those different things. So that's like you being like, I could get down with the Dwunnies, like that's what we were really shooting for.
Yeah. And I'm showing. I've got up on the screen right now. I've got your actual website, the Short Hop Games website, and everybody can see the little the website, shorthopgames.com, and you see Quest and Cannons, and then you can see here the artwork right in the banner where you can sign up for the newsletter to get a free print and play version of the game. Also, you see the artwork for the the Dwunnies, the dells, and the porks right here, and also it's got the what is Quest and Cannons, and trying to see if I can get some the beautiful vibrant artwork. Like I said, it's vibrant fantasy world. The boards and everything are great. The artwork is great. It's just it's wonderful. Obviously, the prototype. I don't think my video does it complete justice, and these pictures on the website are actually a little bit better. Hopefully, I can after the Kickstarter funds, I can, because you know it's gonna fund. It's gonna fund. It's one of the ones that I'm definitely.
That's always us here. We're always just like.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I see so many games, and some of them are gonna be like, maybe, or be like, oh yeah, there's a it's gonna you're gonna blow it out of the water, but hopefully get a copy for review afterwards, and be able to show it off the final production, everything with it, because it's just great, and you can see that a little bit in my video. I try to show off some of the artwork and stuff, especially holding up the player boards for the characters, and it's wonderful. How about go into a little bit of the background for the different races and the world overall, because it's the Risen Isle, right? Risen Islands.
Yeah. We've so the prototype didn't actually we weren't able to make it into this prototype that we sent out for the reviews, but on the backs of all the champion tiles, we're going to have character backstories that kind of dive into the backgrounds of the characters and like all that theme stuff. No, well, I mean, probably one of the. We have a few of the games behind us right now, but for as far as like lore goes, that's going to be on the backs of all the champion tiles. We'll have lore on the backs of actually on the backs of all the frame tiles. So I mean, when you're setting up, you can like explore the lore as you're setting up. You can learn about the world. I mean, the quest cards have references to lore like all throughout. You know, every single quest card has a unique, like little. You know, they're short flavor stories, but they all have references to, you know, really expand upon the world. Because that was a big part of it. I mean, we did a lot of world building to set up the stage to not just make this game. I mean, the Risen Islands is just part one to a 3-part series that we're planning.
Yeah.
So setting up the world has been really important for us.
And I just put a link. I just want to say real quick. I put a link to the website in the description, but I actually spelled it games with an N instead of games with an M. So just to make sure, don't click that link, people. Or if you do, correct it with the M instead of the N. I was trying to type real quick while listening to you, and like, no. Yeah.
I just wanted to like go off on what Eric was saying a little bit and kind of delve into it.
Yeah.
Every time we say, we have a co-op narrative-driven island delving dungeon crawl plan for the second one, I just like, it's the pun every single time.
Yeah. No, it's like so funny. I'm trying to like, oh, that's good. So on the board, if they have or have not seen it, I don't know, but there's the 3 different factions or nations, starting spaces, whatever you want to call it. And that kind of shows the uniqueness. So basically a little bit of like premise here. You're in this world and there's the 3 different nations, we'll call it, and they all kind of just do their own thing. So the Dwunnies have like the towering mother tree. They're a matriarchal society.
Yeah.
They have like that whole thing going on. The Porks live on the back of like the mighty Kawolo, which is like a caravan, like moving city. And they have like the Weeping Lotus Tree, which has like a symbiotic relationship with the Kawolo animal. And then the Delves honor like the sky waterfalls and the ethereal song clouds. So what starts to happen is the magic or the divine connection that they have within their world starts to diminish, and they don't understand why or what's going on. So at the same time that occurs, the islands miraculously rise up from beneath the sea.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, you got to go see what's going on out there. So that's what's happening in this game, is that you are one of the like champions for your nation going out and trying to get resources to restore the balance to your world. A little sneak preview I've been telling people at the convention, so I have to include you too, is that in this game, there's like, it's new, this devastation. It's new, it's desperate, there's a divide with the people, because people are feeling desperate, like what's kind of going on in the world that we live in now. So in our, like the next game, what they're going to come to find, and this will be a co-op game, they're going to come to find that even though their divine connection uniquely expresses itself in the 3 nations very differently, they're actually all connected by the same source. The same divine connection or source is what's powering these unique things. So what they come to find is they need to get over the divide and the separation and come together and create unity, because that's the only thing that's going to restore balance back to the world. So we have like a positive message we're trying to like also put out there in our fantasy that relates to reality.
Yeah. And what kind of game is the second one? I know, because this one's like, you know, you're traveling around the board, you know, shooting other players, you know, and then completing your quest, turning them in, the different various spots, picking up resource. Basically, it's action point resource management kind of game. What kind of game is the second one?
So we're gonna have a follow-up expansion that kind of just adds features.
Okay.
To this
Okay.
one. But part 2 is going to be a narrative-driven co-op island delving dungeon crawl. So
Okay.
we're gonna
Nice.
we're gonna use the mechanics in this game, the Risen Islands,
Okay.
as like an overworld system
Mm-hmm.
for the dungeon crawl, and then also have you go in, you travel to the islands, you have like an open like kind of zoomed in map of that island, then you can enter dungeons on that island to get, then you go into that like hex grid kind of dungeon tactics.
Okay, like on a separate map that's off to the side, so when you go in,
Yeah.
you do stuff over there and then come back. Well, that's
Right. So you have your overworld map,
Mhm.
which is going to be the Risen Islands is effectively the world map.
Yeah.
So you'd have your overworld map, you'd have your island, like a zoomed in island location kind of booklet map,
Yeah.
and then you'd have your dungeon map that you explore or build out with tiles.
No, awesome, because I love dungeon crawls. I love dungeon crawls. I hate that I have so many around here with so many like just like scenario booklets to play through, and I get to play the first, maybe the second one, and then that's like it, because it's like, oh, there's another one. Got to start that one. Oh, there's a so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see it. I love the looking at new dungeon crawls that come out. It's great.
I think we've got some cool ideas with it. Pretty excited about what we're doing for our combat system.
Okay.
I think that's people are gonna find that's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be under.
That's a surprise.
Have you thought of, since you have such a rich background and you've developed these races in the world so much, have you thought of a development of maybe an actual like RPG or turn it over to that genre, like making like a 5th edition supplement that's the quests and cannons world?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of thinking about like a pathway to doing that. We talked a little bit about converting some of the stuff into like 5e compatible assets and whatnot. Races, classes, bestiary items, that kind of stuff. But I think it'd be really cool if, that would be kind of like what we could test the dungeon crawl with, if we can create like a system in that feels good from not only mechanics, crunchy mechanics standpoint, but also like your role playing kind of standpoint. Then maybe we could move into tabletop role playing space. And
I think it'd be so sweet for that.
Yeah.
There is a lot of lore that we've come up with.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you could just kickstart just a source book alone for it, and like not even worry about. It's like, here, import this into your 5th edition game. Ta-da! Here you go.
Yeah. You have like a lore Bible going.
Like, yeah.
It's just so exciting, the world, and like what you can do with it. And we'll just be like laying in bed, like delirious, and we just like, oh, what do you think of this? Like, oh, so then we'll add on it. We'll be like, no, like, oh yeah, this, that. Like, we just like come up with like the weirdest things, and then it works.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. That's cool. So we're writing it all down.
So what are some of the maybe the difficulties or maybe even the advantages of designing a game together as a husband and wife team? I mean, do you have more disagreements than you do agreements? Is there a veto system of ideas?
I wouldn't recommend this to the faint of heart, because we legit could have gotten a divorce over this. Like, we basically argued for other couples, because like even finding a game night that you're like, yeah, we both agree on this game, this is like a huge undertaking, and we are so different of people in general, and also we're both wicked stubborn like that. So like we'll die up on the hill. So any decision that has been made in Quest and Cannons like has been fought tooth and nail, to the point that it got balanced out, because we had to like compromise instead of letting someone win. Like, and then we're like sometimes like the other person has to win, but that would take us like weeks to get to like that point. And it's funny because like being at the convention with other game designers, like I don't care if they're best friends or husband and wife, like teams, like the dynamic that we have, like everyone else did too. They're like, dude, like we get into fights and like not talk for like a couple days and stuff. Like,
Nice.
it's just like crazy. Like it's a lot. You can speak to how you felt about it, but that's my experience.
I mean, that's, we both experienced that. I mean, that I think the joke, or half joke, because it's kind of true, is we fought so that you didn't have to. I mean, that's exactly it. Nothing was made in the design of Quests and Cannons lightly. Everything from the aesthetics to the mechanics to the component design was talked about to death.
Yeah.
And tested. Rigorously tested.
Well, we made sure to play test as much with experienced and inexperienced people. Like this weekend, there was someone I had met outside, and and she was like, basically like, oh, what are you guys doing here, kind of thing. And I told her like we designed a board game. She's like, yeah, I don't really play board games. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, come, let me talk to you for a minute. Come on over here.
Yeah, right. She's like, yeah, I don't really play, and I'm like, what, like, why? Like, what's the barrier to entry for you? And she's like, I'm really like ADHD. And I'm like, bro, you are talking to the right people. Like, I think you'll like our game because we both have wicked ADHD, and like, we focus a lot on, because that's a big barrier to entry for a lot of people. Like, so we focused a lot on downtime in between turns, how stimulated you are during your turn, how long does it take to explain the game, how long is the game, and then like how much are you actually managing. So like the player board, because you are managing a lot when you play Quests and Cannons for sure. Like you zone out for a second and you're like, what was I doing? So that's why we designed the player boards the way that we did, is because you can just look down and be like, yeah, that's what I was doing. All right, boom, like here we go. So anyway, she came. I was like, wait, do you want to try to play? She's like right now? I'm like, yeah, like right now. She's like, all right. So her and her boyfriend came up and we did a 2v2v2, and neither her nor her boyfriend were board gamers, but he played video games. So that kind of helped. Yeah. And we won. And I'm directing their team, and I'm not the seasoned gamer compared to him and his friend Paul. So it's kind of like the noobs versus like the seasoned, and like we won. So that's really cool to see that, we accomplished something with that. But she came up to our booth the next day anyways, and because this wasn't at the booth that whole thing happened, it was like after hours. So she like found us the next day and came up and was like, I'm buying this. Yes, like I want to get this game. She's like, not only did I love it and I understood it so well, she's like, I can explain this to my friends. Yeah. And I was like, that right there, like, warms my heart. That's like what our goal was.
I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, being able to have like you have people that have played games their whole life, or like can bring a game like this, or even a game, bring a game like this to people who haven't played games before, or have had trouble playing games, or new to games, and like get them to be really excited about playing a game.
Yeah, that's awesome, and then the word of mouth spreads. They go, oh, there's this game coming to Kickstarter, and getting their friends excited about it, and they're excited about it, and then you're funding. I already said this before. Yeah, that's how it happens. Yeah,
it makes me like so nervous when people say that. I'm just like,
the last interview we did, we got talking about stretch goals. Yeah. And I was like, well, we've got this one that's at like 200,000, and they're like, oh, you guys are gonna smash through that. I was like,
no. Yeah,
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
It's just
that one made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just weird because like we've been working on this for like 3 years. It started literally, we like made the first prototypes on diaper boxes and K-cups, because that's what we were like living off of, like changing our kids' diaper and like lots of coffee.
Yeah.
We had tons of material, but
it's actually a really good prototype.
Yeah, I was saying that to someone. It really is. So like that was what it was on, and I was just looking at the flashback pictures of Boston Fig.
Yeah, that just came up.
And literally, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the game looks so ugly. I cannot believe like how many people actually came and like listened to us, like, and loved it then. And there was like no like bordering artwork or anything like that. And I forgot, when I think back about the memory of Boston Fig, to me, it's like a full game. And like, it definitely wasn't. So
not even close.
It's just cool. Like, we still have friends that we met like that weekend.
Yeah. Awesome.
And they're like definitely, about the game. So it's just really cool anyways.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of stuff popping up on Facebook memories, I know Liz and I have been developing a small card game ourselves called Ghost Train, and I post about it every now and then, and bringing it
What
to
is
the
it called?
different Ghost Train.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I've been bringing it to different proto spiels and testing it out with people and different stuff like that, and still developing it. But something popped up on my Facebook memories today of a basic pro. It was basically just a deck of cards we were using on the table with the for the numbers and everything for stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, it's been 2 years. Holy crap! Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah,
So
and
is that your partner?
yeah. Liz is my wife. She doesn't like being on camera ever. That's why she rarely ever pops up in my videos or live streams
No,
or
that's
anything like that.
understandable. I get that too sometimes. So you guys design games together too, then?
Well, it'll be our first one, but yeah, usually, she'll I come up with whatever idea and then get her input, or she'll play it with me and stuff, and then she inputs it not so much from the design standpoint, but she has found a lot of different stuff. She's like, what if you do this instead of that? Would that work better?
Like a developer kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a developer. You
Mhm.
need somebody who's got these like really out there crazy ideas, and then someone who can bring it down to earth, and that is like a really good balance. So have you guys had a ton of arguments, or is that just unique to us?
No, no, we haven't really argued about it too much, because mostly it's a lot of me working on it while she's working, and in between my videos and stuff like that. So she only pops up every now and then. So yeah, not a lot of arguing, but her input is there in the game.
Well, Eric, in our defense, Eric decided to design a board game when we had a 6-month-old colicky child and 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So that also contributed to our arguing, being like, oh, okay, I just need to do this last thing. It's only going to take like this long. And I'm like, dude, it's never just that long. Like, it's long.
Yeah.
Nothing about this has been, oh, it's going to be this long.
Real quick. That's like the quote. Oh, real quick. Yeah. Okay, buddy. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Like, there's no such thing. So.
Yeah. It's like the SpongeBob screen pops up 5 hours later. Yeah.
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 6 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get sued by SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that definitely added to it. But the delirium from having children and the lack of sleep has definitely given us a lot of creativity.
Oh yeah. Sleep deprivation will do it for you. Like, yeah, I'll be sitting there. Not a lot of people know this, but I suffer from pain in my legs, neuropathy. So sleeping at night is sometimes hard for me. I'm laying there in pain, just awake for hours, and I'm just like sleeping. And I'm like, wait, that would be a great idea for a game. Hold on, grab notebook. Sorry. Yeah, you have some crazy ideas from sleep deprivation, just laying there exhausted. And it's like, oh yeah, that mechanic could work. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's when the juices are flowing. You're like doing a middle of the night feed, and you're like, genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
I have it.
That's I early in the 2 a.m. feeding a baby or something like that. That's I'd come up with ideas and I'd write them down in my notes on my phone, like anything from lore to some new mechanic idea.
Yeah. Sometimes when you look at it later, you're like, what was I thinking? What the hell? It's like, that's not gonna what? All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about quests and cannons, or just your development process in general?
One thing I just want to say is that, well, there's actually 2 things, just like kind of full circle on some of the stuff we were talking about, is within like 3 turns, like you'll see people that don't game start to be like, I get this. And that's pretty consistent. Like turn 3, like what we usually suggest to like newer players is that they do like team play, which even with our team play mode, you're still responsible for your own ship, which was another thing that Eric and I tried to think about, because if we would, sorry, our 4-month-old is really quirky like us. She's like a pterodactyl, and if Pikachu had a baby or something.
That's fine.
That's like what she reminds me of. So, damn it, what was I saying? The little pterodactyl back there. By turn 3, and team play. Okay, so when Eric and I would play a game together, I'd feel more confident to try to play a game if it was team play. But I feel like he would like dominate the team. Like I would just kind of be a warm body sometimes, and I'm like, why am I even here? Where in quests and cannons, like even if you're on a team, you still have your own ship, your own character, and you're managing your own stuff. So I feel like that's one area how it like really does help to like bridge the gap. Like I've seen couples play, and depending on who's the gamer more than the other, like they'll be like, all right, hun, babe, whatever, you should do this and that. And the first couple turns, they're like, okay, I'll do what you're telling me to do. And then by turn 3, they're like, no, don't tell me what to do. I have a plan, and this is what I'm doing. The other person's like, no, like, do this. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. See my own path. And like seeing someone's confidence build and like them evolve over the course of like the game, that's what I think is really beautiful. So for newer players, I think definitely like team play is the way to go. Turn 3, you're getting it. There's no player elimination, so no one's sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
And there's really no runaway winners. Consistently, people are within like 2 to 3 turns, 3 like tops, being like, oh man, like I was so close to winning. Like you don't get stomped out. So there's just like a lot of things that I feel like it is a really good like gateway game for people of all different ages and whatever. So
I mean, on the other side of it too, I mean, we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of playtests at this point, and we're still seeing, new strategies develop.
yeah,
So the game doesn't get stale either, which is something that I always think about when playing games. It's like, oh, it's gonna get boring after a while. Does this feel solved, or what more depth is there to this game? But I'm sure we haven't seen like all the different strategies that will come from the game. And then there's, again, in team play, you can combine the different champions together. You can figure out new strategies. One player goes off to fetch resources across the board, or you meet at an outpost and you upgrade both your ships together, or maybe you're playing double cannons, or there's all
or
sorts
someone
of stuff.
else is like making like trading in resources to get more coins to like heal the other person's shit because they're doing something heavy. Maybe they're going heavy map clues, whatever. So there's just like a lot of versatility in pterodactyl. Different. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but we don't.
No.
No.
Not too bad. It's actually really funny.
I know I can't hear it, so maybe people at home can hear it, but I personally can't hear it. So
well, anyone who has a pterodactyl,
that is our dog.
It's our baby. So, but yeah. So
it's funny you guys don't look part pterodactyl. So
yeah, I was trying to figure out who was the Pikachu.
It's like 10%. It's like 10%. So that's why it's not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We keep our wings at bay.
Yeah, and then my mod just put in the chat that he doesn't hear it either. So that's
Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah. He's always in the background just watching. Yeah. Thank you, Shane. So yeah.
There was one other point that I had, but I probably can't remember what it was. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. If it pops up, it pops up.
Okay.
Yeah, but the game. Like you're saying about not like seeing all the different strategies. Yeah, the game with the changing board and with so many cards and quests and options and the resource management about what you can do and how you play. I know I haven't played it as teams, but I played it on Tabletop Simulator with Eric and I think the artist also.
Yeah, Tony.
But, yeah, and I bragging I won, but yeah. Yeah. So, but it's like, yeah, it's yeah. There's totally a bunch of different strategies that you can do, and yeah, and having the board change and the different cards and the different races and different.
I feel like I'm playing it new every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
I can't go into a game and be like, this is what I'm gonna do. It's like you can't do that. It doesn't let you do that because all the resources change, the terrain changes, the quests you get change.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely
have to figure out the puzzle each time.
Yeah, you got to have an adaptive strategy, even in the game itself. Like, not even just like, all right, everything rolls out and you start to see it. Like, I've found, strategies that I've won with before not working at all in a different game. And I'm just like, all right, I can either die up on this hill and get, like, kind of stomped, like, lose. Because, like, you got to be like, this quest is taking too long.
Yeah.
Like, there's other things I can do. And you have to be able to have that adaptive mindset to be like, I'm going to do this instead and identify that. So it definitely keeps you on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, each time.
Yeah, that's great. I love that in games. I mean, you get some games like that. Other games that I like Machikoro. I don't know if you ever played Machikoro, where the strategy is basically the same every single game. You know, because it's a city building game where you're rolling dice and you're generating income and paying out income to other people and this and that while you're building your city and stuff. But yeah, basically you can use the same strategy over and over and over when you play that game. And so I actually saw a post in one of the Facebook gaming groups earlier. Someone said they were playing Machikoro Legacy, and it's played over 10 games. They said by the time they got to the fourth game, everybody knew the same strategy to use for the last 6 games. That's exactly what they did the last 6 games they played of the legacy game. And stuff like that is kind of like, so having a ever-changing game that's never the same twice is awesome.
We've played back to back to back, like rematching, and it is not the same. Like, because you move the resources around each time, and it's a chance. Like, you could be loaded with gems one game, and the next game gems are literally nowhere near you, and that's a big difference. Like, if you have no gems or spice near you, like you really have to change your strategy and figure out what you're trying to do, because the way there is a lot of depth. Like, Eric put so much detail into like what you can do with things, like being able to sell like gems or spice to get like a loot card or a map, like an additional map clue. So there's like a lot of different things that each resource also does. Canvas upgrades your sails, lumber upgrades your cargo. So if you're thinking like, I'm going heavy sails to begin with to get more speed, but then you have no canvas near you whatsoever, you have to adapt and be like, maybe I want to go more cargo or whatever the case may be. So
maybe you take a couple of resources to the trading post and get, at least get one canvas.
Yeah.
So there's tons of ways you can get around things, but you have to think. Like, all right, do I want to do this, that, whatever? You cannot go about it the same way each time. Yeah. Unless you want to lose.
I wanted to ask, how many little hidden Easter eggs did you guys put in the game? Because I know I saw the Facebook post a couple weeks back, and I already had an inkling, but I didn't know if you did it on purpose about the titles of the three outposts.
Yep.
That's very impressive that you noticed that, because he asked me and I was like,
yeah. And then people at home are going,
it's so obvious once you know, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So there's an Easter egg with the titles of the outposts. It references a very, well, I'm not going to give it away because I think it's fun.
Yeah. Is that what he was saying? Is that the one that you noticed though?
Yeah. I saw it. I was like, this is kind of the weird, the names because my brain, anytime I see stuff, I start like rearranging letters. And so when I like look at words to make anagram, make other words and different stuff like that. There was a book I read by an author called P.N. Elrod. She does she did the Strahd series for the Ravenloft novels or for Dungeons and Dragons. And there's a person in one of the books whose name is Tu Yesup, which when spelled backwards is something inappropriate to say on this live stream. But I was reading the book and I'm like, wait a minute, and my brain starts scrambling the letters and I'm like, oh, that's backwards. Whoa, So like when I saw the names of the stuff and I was like, wait, this, and then somebody commented on it and I was like, oh, I was about to say that myself. Oh, yeah. But
I literally, that like went over my head. What other Easter eggs are in there?
The box has box art has an Easter egg. Or not, it's self-referential. It's about the lore for the world. Okay. I'm not going to say what that is either.
Yeah, you'll have to pledge on the Kickstarter and get your copy to find out.
You have to back the game on Kickstarter, and then you'll find out what that Easter egg was. Maybe a year from now. There's some other references in the island names. We mentioned one.
Oh, that's the overall thing you did. I'm not saying it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you guys can't hear the pterodactyl. It's intense.
No. We're deep in Jurassic Park over here.
na.
It's like nuts.
But yeah, I like doing references in names. There's actually, I'm curious if you found the song reference. There's 2 quest cards that make a song reference. With the titles of the.
No, not that I could think of right off the bat. But then I didn't look at like all of them. So.
Yeah, unless you look through all of them or like saw them both like in short sequence.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't pick it up. So there's a song reference from obviously from a band.
I need to know. You got to spill the beans on that.
I can't.
Because I'm gonna need you to send me that prototype back this way. You know.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't even. This is like literally news to me. He does the wildest thing.
I just do random stuff and hide it in there.
Yeah, and then he makes me find it. So I'd rather just know.
So we got 2 quests. I'll find it. Here's one.
We have too much things to talk about.
Let's see if we can figure it out. So one of the quests is called "The Roof is on Fire."
Ah, there you go. Okay.
And the other one is I wanted to find it just so. The other one is "We Don't Need No Water."
Okay. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have I planned on finishing the sequence, and another one we have this one I'm gonna. So the Treacherous Sea, in Quests and Cannons is so you see the tentacles in the water.
Yeah.
So that's not, people say, oh, it's a kraken. It's like, yeah, it looks like a kraken because it's tentacles, but we're actually calling that the cluckin, so that's our chicken kraken. We do the whole like chimeric kind of thing with everything in this game. So some quests in the next one will be burn mother clucker burn.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
I think we can say that on live stream, right?
Yeah, Mother Clucker is okay. Yeah. The other thing that I found in the books, not okay.
Couches on it a little bit.
PG-13 kids.
Yeah, there you go. And usually on my live stream, when I live stream D&D on Tuesday, well, we've been on a break for about the past 2 months, and the DM is always like, let's keep the stream, PG-13, and at least once a game somebody starts cussing everywhere. So it's just like, yeah.
No, we've kept even the references we've kept PG-ish.
Yeah, definitely. There's no alcohol or anything in our game.
There's no mild violence, if you can call rolling dice violence.
If you can throw cannons at someone violent, obviously that's violent.
Yeah, if pirates did it, it's okay. Right?
Mild violent suggestion.
It's violent.
Okay, it's violent.
It's violent. Yeah.
Fucking someone else's ship is not violent. Like it is.
At least it's good that it's violence and not violins. That we have to draw a line. Just
Yeah, definitely. We can't have any violence. Although we got violence.
We got violence coming.
Yeah, we do.
The trailer video that we have coming is
gonna be lit.
Awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it.
There's some violins, there's some cello. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I've been seeing the stop motion videos popping up all over Facebook, and they look awesome. I'm like, yes, yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. We got violins and violence.
Oh, wonderful.
Violent violence.
Yeah. Might have put that in another game.
All right. So before we wrap this up, I got one last question that I like to ask everybody that I interview. Do you like my sideburns?
Yeah, of course.
Totally.
Awesome. Yay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. All right. Well,
contours your face, and like gives you that jawline.
Shannon actually has some of Wolverine's superpowers. Her sense of smell is actually on par, if not better than.
Literally. Yeah. And my don't tell me what to do bug. I got that going on too.
There you go. Yeah. Your sense of hearing is going to go from the pterodactyl, though. It's going to take out your.
That might be a good thing. We got, 2 kids and 3 dogs that are pretty barky, so.
No. Well, thank you for joining me, Eric and Shannon, here on Behind the Mask. I look forward to seeing Quests and Cannons on Kickstarter here, September 21st. What? Did I say something wrong?
No. We were just being
freaking
excited.
Out. Okay, it's like, as I saw facial reactions, I was like, "Oh, did I say like canyons or something?"
No, you're right. Yeah. Next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time. Yeah. So that'll be 8 a.m. for me, so that'll be awesome. I'll make sure to set my alarm so I'm awake in time and be like, I'm going to be number 1. I'm going to be hitting that button right there.
You hear that, people? That's a challenge.
Yeah. So everybody that's tuning in and watching this afterwards, the links to the Kickstarter pre-launch page will be down in the description. So make sure you go down there and check it out, as well as the link to Short Hop Games website. And when the Kickstarter goes live, I will be updating the link if it changes at all to the active Kickstarter. So if you're watching this after it's launched, yeah. And if you have any what's it called, late backer options for people that missed the Kickstarter, the link to everything will be down there also. So thank you for joining me. I can't wait to see the Kickstarter and the expansion and all the other games and everything else you guys have coming up.
Yeah, God willing, if this is successful. Otherwise, we're going off into the dust.
Okay. So we'll see everybody next time. Thank you, and happy gaming as always.
Awesome. Thank you so much.